right now. As you're listening to this, your phone is probably within arm's reach. Maybe it just buzzed. Maybe you felt that little twitch, that urge to check it. Here's what nobody tells you. That device sitting next to you? It's designed by teams of neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists whose only job is to keep you hooked. They've cracked the code on your brain's reward system, and they're using it against you. Think about yesterday. How many times did you pick up your phone without even realizing it? How many rabbit holes did you fall down when you only meant to check the time? That scattered feeling you have, that restlessness when there's nothing to scroll through, that's not normal. That's your brain crying out for help. But here's what I know about you. You clicked on this because something inside you knows you're capable of more. You feel it, don't you? That version of yourself who can sit with a book for hours, who has ideas that actually stick, who doesn't need constant noise to feel okay. That person isn't gone. They're just buried under layers of digital noise. In the next hour, I'm going to show you exactly how to dig them out. You're here. You made it past the first 30 seconds. That already puts you ahead of 90% of people who can't sit still long enough to hear a complete thought. I'm your guide through AudioWave Books, where we don't just read stories, we rewrite them, starting with yours. Look, I could stand here and promise you the moon. I could tell you this will be easy, painless, and you'll feel amazing by tomorrow morning. But that would be a lie. What I will tell you is this. The next hour is going to be uncomfortable. Your brain is going to fight you. It's going to whisper that you're wasting time, that you should check your messages, that this can't possibly work. That voice, that's not you talking. That's the addiction. Here's what we're actually going to do together. First, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening in your brain right now. Not some boring textbook explanation, but the real, raw truth about how your reward system has been hijacked. You'll understand why that Instagram notification feels more urgent than your actual goals. Why you can binge-watch Netflix for 6 hours, but can't focus on your work for 6 minutes. Why simple pleasures, like a sunset or a good conversation, feel so muted compared to the rush of digital stimulation. Then we're going to walk through something I call the reset protocol. It's not complicated, but it requires something most people aren't willing to give: 48 hours of your complete commitment. No half measures. No exceptions. No, just this once. During those 48 hours, you're going to feel things. Boredom that feels like physical pain. Restlessness that makes you want to crawl out of your skin. Moments where you'll convince yourself this is pointless. But you're also going to feel something else. Something you might have forgotten exists. Stillness. Real stillness. Not the fake calm of scrolling through your phone, but actual peace in your own mind. Ideas will start bubbling up from somewhere deep inside you. Colors will look brighter. Food will taste better. Conversations will feel different, more real. And after those 48 hours, that's when the real work begins. Because breaking free is one thing. Staying free, that's where most people fail. So, we'll build your defense system. Simple daily practices that keep your brain working for you, not against you. Ways to enjoy technology without becoming its slave. Methods to find genuine satisfaction in a world designed to keep you perpetually wanting more. I won't lie to you. This isn't a magic pill. There's no secret hack that makes this effortless. But here's what I can promise. If you stick with me through this entire hour, if you actually do what I'm going to show you, your life will look different a month from now. Not because of some mystical change, but because you'll be different. Your brain will be different. Your relationship with distraction, with boredom, with genuine pleasure, all of it will be different. You ready? Because once we start, there's no going back to pretending you don't know what you know. Chapter 1. The Invisible Prison. Close your eyes for a moment. When was the last time you sat in complete silence, without reaching for your phone, without the urge to check something, anything? If you can't remember, you're exactly where you need to be. Keep them closed for just a few more seconds. Notice what happens. Does your mind immediately start racing? Are you already thinking about what you need to check when this is over? Do you feel uncomfortable? That discomfort you're feeling right now? That's not boredom. That's withdrawal. Open your eyes. What you just experienced is the invisible prison most people live in without even knowing it. You've been locked away so long, you've forgotten what freedom feels like. Let me tell you about Sarah. 32 years old, marketing director at a tech company. Successful by every measure. Good salary, nice apartment, great friends. But Sarah couldn't remember the last time she finished a book. She'd buy them, stack them on her nightstand, and then nothing. I used to love reading, she told me. I'd lose myself in stories for hours. Now I can barely make it through a page before I'm checking my phone. Sarah's brain wasn't broken. It was hijacked. Here's what happened to Sarah and what's happening to you right now. Your brain has an ancient system designed to keep you alive. It's called the dopamine pathway, and for millions of years, it worked perfectly. When your ancestors found food, dopamine hit their system. Not when they ate the food, when they found it. This chemical rush said, "Pay attention. This is important. Remember this location." Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. That's a myth. Dopamine is the seeking chemical. It makes you want. It makes you search. It makes you crave the next thing. And that's exactly what every app on your phone is designed to exploit. Think about it. When you open Instagram, do you know what you're looking for? Of course not. You're just looking, seeking, hoping something will catch your attention. That's your ancient dopamine system being triggered by modern technology. Every notification is a small robbery of your attention. Every buzz, every ping, every red dot is stealing a piece of your focus and selling it to the highest bidder. Facebook didn't accidentally become addictive. Neither did TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube. Teams of neuroscientists, behavioral economists, and data scientists study your brain patterns. They run thousands of tests to see what keeps you scrolling longer. They call it engagement. You should call it what it really is, digital cocaine. The average person checks their phone 144 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes of your waking life. But here's the scary part. Most people have no idea they're doing it. Your brain is not broken. It's hijacked. Let me show you how deep this goes. Dr. Anna Lemke, who runs Stanford's addiction clinic, treats people addicted to everything from heroin to gambling. She told me something that should terrify you. The smartphone addicts are often harder to treat than the drug addicts. Why? Because a heroin addict can avoid their dealer. But your dealer lives in your pocket. Your dealer comes to dinner with you. Your dealer sleeps next to your bed. This isn't hyperbole. Brain scans of people using social media show the same patterns as people using cocaine. The same brain regions light up. The same neural pathways get reinforced. The same tolerance develops where you need more and more stimulation to feel normal. What you pay attention to becomes your reality. And right now, your attention is being harvested and sold like a crop. Remember when you were a kid and summer afternoons felt endless? When you could lie on the grass and watch clouds without feeling restless? When waiting for something didn't feel like torture? That wasn't because you were young. That was because your dopamine system was functioning normally. Here's what constant stimulation has done to your brain. It's like living on a diet of pure sugar. At first, an apple tastes bland compared to candy. Then even candy stops being sweet enough. Soon, you need more and more intense flavors just to feel anything at all. Your brain works the same way. Constant digital stimulation has made normal life feel boring. A sunset isn't exciting enough. A conversation isn't stimulating enough. Even your own thoughts aren't interesting enough. Sarah described it perfectly. I felt like I was living my life in fast forward, but somehow nothing was happening. Days would blur together. I'd be busy all the time, but never actually accomplish anything meaningful. Every notification is a small robbery of your attention. But it's not just stealing your focus in that moment. It's rewiring your brain to need that stimulation. It's making you incapable of enjoying simple pleasures. The cost isn't just productivity. It's creativity. It's deep thinking. It's the ability to sit with a problem long enough to solve it elegantly instead of just finding a quick fix. When was the last time you had a genuinely original idea? Not something you read online, not something triggered by a video you watched, but an idea that bubbled up from your own deep thinking? Your brain is constantly switching between tasks now. Scientists call it continuous partial attention. You're never fully present anywhere. You're always keeping one eye on your phone, one ear open for notifications, one part of your mind ready to jump to the next shiny thing. This isn't multitasking. This is mental fragmentation, and it's killing your ability to do deep work. Cal Newport studied knowledge workers and found that the average person can only focus on one task for 11 minutes before getting distracted. 11 minutes. That's not even long enough to properly understand a complex problem, let alone solve it. What you pay attention to becomes your reality. And if your attention is scattered across 1,000 different inputs, your reality becomes scattered too. But here's what the tech companies don't want you to know. Here's what Sarah discovered and what you're about to learn. Your brain can heal. Not just improve, not just get better. It can actually return to its natural state of being able to find joy in simple things. To think deeply, to be present in your own life. Sarah went through the same process you're about to learn. She told me what happened after just 1 week. It was like someone had cleaned the windshield of my life. Everything looked clearer. I could actually taste my food again. Conversations with friends felt deeper, more real. But first, she had to admit something difficult. She had to acknowledge that her brain was not broken. It was hijacked. That those feelings of restlessness, of constant need for stimulation, of being unable to focus, those weren't character flaws. They were symptoms of a system that had been weaponized against her. The same is true for you. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not lacking willpower or discipline. You're fighting an unfair battle against some of the smartest people in the world who have unlimited resources and one goal: keep you clicking. Every notification is a small robbery of your attention. Every algorithm is designed to bypass your conscious mind and speak directly to your reward system. Every platform is optimized to make you feel like you're missing something if you're not constantly checking. And here's the most insidious part. The technology doesn't just steal your attention in the moment. It trains your brain to expect that level of stimulation all the time. It makes boredom feel unbearable. It makes silence feel uncomfortable. It makes your own thoughts feel insufficient. What you pay attention to becomes your reality. And if your attention is constantly being fragmented, interrupted, and sold to advertisers, then your reality becomes fragmented too. Your dreams get smaller because big dreams require sustained attention to achieve. Your relationships get shallower because deep connection requires presence. Your creativity dies because original ideas need space to develop. You become a consumer instead of a creator, a reactor instead of an actor, a passenger in your own life. But here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. None of this is permanent. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity. It can rewire itself. It can unlearn these patterns. It can remember what it feels like to be genuinely satisfied by simple pleasures. Sarah's transformation didn't happen overnight. It took commitment. It took discomfort. It took sitting with feelings she'd been avoiding for years. But it happened. 3 months after her detox, Sarah sent me a message. I finished 3 books this month. I cooked dinner without listening to a podcast. I had a 2-hour conversation with my sister without checking my phone once. I feel like myself again. Your brain is not broken. It's hijacked. But hijacked things can be liberated. Every notification is a small robbery of your attention. But attention can be reclaimed. Focus can be restored. The ability to be present in your own life can be recovered. What you pay attention to becomes your reality. And you're about to learn how to take control of your attention again. But before we can break free, we must understand our captor. Let's dive deeper into the science that will set you free. Chapter 2. The Dopamine Trap. Understanding your enemy. Picture dopamine as an ancient messenger, evolved to help our ancestors survive. When they found food, dopamine rewarded the search, not the eating. Today, that same system is being weaponized against you by algorithms designed to keep you scrolling, clicking, consuming. Imagine your great-great-grandfather walking through a forest 50,000 years ago. He's hungry. He's been searching for berries for hours. Then there, a bush heavy with ripe fruit. The moment he sees those berries, dopamine floods his brain. Not when he tastes them, not when his hunger disappears. The instant he spots them, his reward system fires. Pay attention, his brain screams. This is important. Remember this location. Come back here. That dopamine hit kept him alive. It made him remember where to find food. It gave him the energy to keep searching when others gave up. It was the difference between survival and starvation. But here's the critical part. Once he ate the berries, the dopamine stopped. The system reset. He felt satisfied, complete, ready to rest until hunger returned. Now fast forward to today. You open TikTok. A funny video appears. Dopamine hits. But before you can fully process that video, another one starts. Another hit. Then another. Then another. Your ancient survival system is being machine-gunned with stimulation it was never designed to handle. You're not weak. You're fighting an unfair battle. Your brain is using Stone Age software to navigate a digital world designed by teams of neuroscientists who understand your reward system better than you do. Let me show you exactly how they're doing it. There's a concept in psychology called wanting versus liking. Dr. Kent Berridge discovered something shocking about dopamine. It doesn't create pleasure. It creates desire. Think about your last Instagram scroll. Were you enjoying it? Really enjoying it? Or were you hoping the next post would be the good one? That restless feeling, that sense that satisfaction is just one more swipe away, that's dopamine. Pure, concentrated wanting without the payoff of liking. You keep scrolling because your brain keeps promising that the next thing will be worth it. But it never is. Because the system isn't designed to satisfy you. It's designed to keep you searching. Your ancestors never faced this level of stimulation. When they found those berries, they ate them and felt satisfied. When you find a good post, the algorithm immediately shows you something else to want. There's no end point, no moment of, okay, I'm done. Just an endless cycle of seeking without finding. Here's where it gets worse. The tech companies discovered something casinos have known for decades. Intermittent reinforcement is the most addictive reward schedule possible. Picture a slot machine. You don't win every time you pull the lever. If you did, you'd get bored and walk away. You don't lose every time either, because then you'd give up. Instead, you win just enough to keep pulling. Just enough to believe the next pull might be the big one. Sound familiar? Most of your social media posts get ignored. But every once in a while, one explodes, gets hundreds of likes, dozens of comments, shares across multiple platforms. That random hit of validation triggers the same brain circuits as winning at slots. And just like gambling, it makes you want to keep pulling the lever. Recognition is the first step to freedom. You need to see this for what it really is, a carefully designed manipulation of your brain's reward system. Every notification is timed for maximum impact. Every people you may know suggestion is calculated to trigger curiosity. Every autoplay feature is designed to eliminate the natural stopping point that would let you disengage. But the real damage isn't what happens while you're using these apps. It's what happens to your brain afterward. Dr. Robert Sapolsky studied dopamine in lab animals. When he gave them a predictable reward, their dopamine levels would spike right before they received it. Classic conditioning. But then he did something interesting. He stopped giving the reward. The animals kept expecting it, kept getting the dopamine spike, but the payoff never came. What happened next should terrify you. The animals' baseline dopamine levels crashed. Things that used to bring them pleasure, food, social interaction, exploration, suddenly felt flat, meaningless. They could only feel normal when they were anticipating the reward that never came. This is exactly what's happening to your brain. Every time you check your phone expecting something good and find nothing interesting, you're training your reward system to expect payoffs that don't come. Your baseline happiness drops. Normal life starts feeling boring. Simple pleasures lose their appeal. You develop what scientists call anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure from activities that used to bring you joy. Recognition is the first step to freedom. What you're experiencing isn't a character flaw. It's a predictable biological response to a manipulated environment. Let me tell you about Marcus, 38, father of two, software engineer. Smart guy. He understood technology better than most people. But Marcus couldn't understand why he felt so empty all the time. I have everything I thought I wanted, he told me. Good job, beautiful family, nice house. But nothing feels enough anymore. I used to love hiking, playing guitar, cooking with my wife. Now it all feels like work. Marcus was experiencing tolerance. The same phenomenon that happens to drug addicts who need higher and higher doses to feel normal. His brain had adapted to constant digital stimulation. Real life, with its slower rhythms and subtle pleasures, couldn't compete anymore. Here's how tolerance works. Your brain tries to maintain balance. When you flood it with artificial dopamine spikes, it starts producing less natural dopamine to compensate. Think of it like your hearing. If you're always in a loud environment, quiet sounds become hard to detect. Your ears adapt to the noise level and become less sensitive. Your dopamine system works the same way. Constant stimulation makes it less sensitive to normal rewards. That sunset you used to find beautiful? Not stimulating enough. That conversation with your friend? Too slow. That book you wanted to read? Boring compared to the rapid-fire content your brain now craves. You're not broken. You're adapted to an artificial environment that's making natural life feel insufficient. Your ancestors never faced this level of stimulation. A beautiful sunrise was genuinely exciting because it was one of the most visually stimulating things they'd see all day. You see more colors, shapes, and movement in a single TikTok session than they saw in a month. Your reward system is completely overwhelmed. And the companies know this. They study something called persuasive design, intentional features that make their products irresistible. Red notification badges trigger urgency. Infinite scroll eliminates natural stopping points. Variable ratio reinforcement keeps you hoping the next post will be the good one. Pull to refresh mimics slot machine mechanics. Push notifications create artificial urgency. Autoplay removes your chance to consciously decide to stop. They've gamified your attention, turned your focus into a resource they can harvest and sell. You're not weak. You're fighting an unfair battle. These aren't accidents or side effects. They're intentional features designed by teams of behavioral psychologists, neuroscientists, and data analysts whose full-time job is making their products irresistible. But here's what they don't want you to know. Your brain's tolerance to stimulation isn't permanent. Just like your ears can readjust to quiet environments, your reward system can recalibrate to normal life. Marcus discovered this during his detox. Day 3 was brutal. He described it as feeling like I was living in black and white while everyone else got to see color. But by day 7, something shifted. I was making coffee, he told me, and I actually noticed the smell. Really noticed it. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was just present with my coffee. By week 3, Marcus was playing guitar again. By month 2, he'd started hiking on weekends. By month 6, he told me something that perfectly captures what recovery looks like. I feel like myself again, like the person I was before I got trapped in this cycle of constantly needing more stimulation. Simple things feel good again. Recognition is the first step to freedom. Understanding that your restlessness, your inability to focus, your need for constant entertainment, these aren't personal failures. They're predictable responses to an environment designed to create exactly these problems. The gaming industry has perfected this manipulation. They use something called variable ratio reinforcement schedules to keep players engaged for hours. You know that feeling when you're playing a game and you tell yourself, just one more level, but then you play for 3 more hours? That's not lack of self-control. That's sophisticated behavioral engineering. Loot boxes, daily rewards, achievement systems, leaderboards. Every element is calibrated to trigger your dopamine system at precisely timed intervals. And it's not just games anymore. Every app uses these same techniques. Snapchat streaks, Instagram stories, LinkedIn endorsements, Twitter likes. They've turned every interaction into a potential dopamine hit, and then made those hits unpredictable enough to keep you constantly seeking more. Your ancestors never faced this level of stimulation. The most exciting thing that might happen to them in a day was finding fresh water or spotting game to hunt. You receive more stimulation in a single hour of social media than they experienced in weeks. Your brain simply isn't equipped to handle this level of input, and the stimulation keeps escalating. What engaged you last year feels boring now. The memes need to be funnier. The videos need to be shorter and more intense. The colors need to be brighter. It's like drug tolerance, but for attention itself. Take a deep breath. Feel the stillness. This is what peace feels like without the noise. Right now, in this moment, notice how it feels to not be seeking anything. Not scrolling, not searching, not hoping for the next hit of stimulation. This stillness isn't emptiness. It's spaciousness. It's room for your own thoughts to emerge. Room for genuine feelings to surface. Room for creativity to flourish. But I know what your brain is probably doing right now. It's telling you this is boring, that you should check something, that you're missing out on something important. That voice isn't you. That's the dopamine system that's been hijacked by artificial stimulation. Recognition is the first step to freedom. You're starting to see the cage you've been living in. And once you see it clearly, you can begin planning your escape. You're not weak. You're fighting an unfair battle against some of the most sophisticated manipulation techniques ever developed. But now you understand your enemy. You know how the trap works. You see how your ancient survival system has been turned against you. And that changes everything. Your ancestors never faced this level of stimulation, but they also never had the knowledge you now possess. They didn't understand dopamine pathways or intermittent reinforcement or persuasive design. You do. And that knowledge is the key to your freedom. Chapter 3. The Signs You're Caught. Let me paint a picture. You wake up and immediately reach for your phone. You can't read a book for more than 10 minutes without feeling restless. Waiting in line feels unbearable without entertainment. Simple tasks feel overwhelming while complex distractions feel effortless. If that sounds like your life, welcome to the club. You're not alone, and you're not broken. You're just caught in a trap that millions of people don't even realize exists. But before we can escape, we need to see the bars of our cage clearly. We need to recognize the signs that our dopamine system has been hijacked. Some of these signs are obvious. Others are so subtle, so woven into modern life, that we mistake them for normal. Let's start with the most obvious one, the phone grab. You wake up, and before your feet hit the floor, before you've even fully opened your eyes, your hand is reaching for your phone. You tell yourself you're just checking the time. But 30 minutes later, you're still scrolling through videos of people you don't know doing things you don't care about. Sound familiar? This isn't laziness. This is your brain demanding its morning hit of dopamine. Like a smoker reaching for a cigarette, your reward system has learned to expect immediate stimulation upon waking. Your attention has become a commodity being sold. The moment you wake up, a dozen companies start bidding for your focus, and you're giving it away for free. But it goes deeper than just checking your phone. Pay attention to what happens in your body when you can't access instant stimulation. You're standing in line at the grocery store. Your phone is dead. There's nothing to scroll, nothing to check, nothing to consume. How do you feel? If you're like most people, you feel agitated, anxious, like something is wrong. Your heart might speed up slightly. Your mind starts racing. You might start tapping your foot or fidgeting with your hands. This isn't impatience. This is withdrawal. Boredom has become your enemy instead of your friend. But boredom used to be where your best ideas came from. It's where creativity lived. It's where your mind had space to wander and make unexpected connections. Now, the moment boredom appears, you kill it with stimulation. You've trained your brain to fear the very state that used to be its most productive. Let me tell you about Jennifer. 41, successful architect, mother of 3. She came to me because she couldn't understand why she felt so exhausted all the time. I'm tired from the moment I wake up, she said, but I can't fall asleep at night. My mind won't stop racing. When we looked at her phone usage, the picture became clear. She was averaging over 6 hours of screen time per day. But here's the thing, she had no idea. 6 hours? She said. That's impossible. I barely use my phone. That's how invisible this has become. We're living in a constant state of partial attention, always half-focused on our devices, never fully present anywhere. Your attention has become a commodity being sold. Every moment you spend on social media, someone is making money from your focus. But the cost to you isn't just time. It's your ability to think deeply, to be present, to feel satisfied with simple pleasures. Here are the physical signs your dopamine system is dysregulated. See how many sound familiar. You feel tired but wired, exhausted but unable to rest. Your sleep is fitful because your brain keeps firing even when your body needs to recover. You get headaches more often, especially when you try to focus on something that requires sustained attention. Your eyes feel strained, not just from looking at screens, but from the constant rapid shifting between different types of content. Your eating patterns have changed. You graze mindlessly while scrolling, or you forget to eat entirely when you're deep in a digital rabbit hole. Food doesn't taste as good as it used to because you're rarely paying attention while you eat. You feel restless in your own skin. Sitting still feels uncomfortable. Silence feels oppressive. You need background noise, background stimulation, background something all the time. These aren't character flaws. They're symptoms of a nervous system that's been overstimulated for so long, it's forgotten how to be calm. Boredom has become your enemy instead of your friend. But your brain needs boredom like your body needs sleep. It's not empty time, it's processing time. Now let's talk about the emotional signs. These are often the most distressing because they make you feel like something is fundamentally wrong with you. You feel anxious about things that never used to bother you. Social situations feel more draining. Small decisions feel overwhelming. You second-guess yourself constantly. Why? Because your brain is spending so much energy processing digital stimulation. It has less capacity left for everything else. You're running your mental processor at maximum speed on meaningless content, leaving no resources for actual life. You're addicted to the search, not the find. You keep looking for something online that will make you feel better, but nothing ever does. Each scroll promises satisfaction, but delivers only the need to keep scrolling. Mood swings become more frequent and more intense. You feel great when you get likes on a post, crushed when nobody responds to your message. Your emotional state becomes tied to digital validation from people who don't even know you. You lose interest in activities that used to bring you joy. Reading feels boring. Exercise feels like work. Conversations feel slow and unstimulating compared to the rapid-fire content your brain now craves. This is called anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure from normal activities. It's not depression, exactly, but it's a numbness that comes from overstimulating your reward system. Your attention has become a commodity being sold, and in the process, you've lost touch with your own capacity for genuine satisfaction. Let me tell you about David, 28, graphic designer, incredibly creative guy. He used to spend hours working on personal art projects. Now he can barely focus on his paying work. I'll sit down to design something, he told me, and within 5 minutes I'm checking Instagram for inspiration. But I never find inspiration there. I just get distracted and never get back to the real work. This is what fractured attention looks like. You start with a clear intention, but your dopamine-hijacked brain pulls you toward easier stimulation. The path of least resistance leads away from meaningful work and toward mindless consumption. You're addicted to the search, not the find. David wasn't really looking for inspiration on Instagram. He was avoiding the discomfort of deep, focused work. His brain had learned that scrolling feels easier than creating. But the cost was enormous. His creativity was dying. His sense of professional accomplishment was disappearing. He felt like he was wasting his talent, but he couldn't seem to stop. Boredom has become your enemy instead of your friend. David was afraid of the empty space where ideas are born. He filled every moment with input, leaving no room for output. Now let's talk about productivity and focus. These symptoms are often what drive people to seek help because they directly impact work and achievement. You can't read for more than a few minutes without feeling restless. Your mind wanders constantly. You start tasks, but rarely finish them. Simple projects feel overwhelming, while complex distractions feel effortless. This paradox reveals something important about your hijacked reward system. Scrolling through social media for 2 hours feels easy because it provides constant micro-rewards. Writing a report for 30 minutes feels impossible because it requires sustained effort without immediate payoff. Your brain has been trained to expect rewards every few seconds. Any task that requires longer patience feels unbearable by comparison. You procrastinate more than you used to, and when you finally start working, you're easily interrupted. A single notification can derail an hour of progress. You tell yourself you'll just check this one thing, but 20 minutes later you're deep in a completely unrelated video. Your attention has become a commodity being sold. While you're trying to focus on work, dozens of apps are actively competing to steal your focus and sell it to advertisers. The most insidious part is how this affects your relationship with difficulty itself. You become addicted to the search, not the find. When something requires real effort, real patience, real persistence, your brain immediately starts looking for an escape. This isn't laziness. This is learned helplessness in the face of any task that doesn't provide instant gratification. Let me tell you about Rachel, 35, marketing manager, used to be incredibly focused and productive. Now she describes her workday as constant firefighting. I'll have a list of important tasks, she said, but I spend most of my day responding to emails, checking Slack, putting out small fires. At the end of the day, I haven't accomplished anything meaningful. Rachel's attention was being auctioned off to the highest bidder every few minutes. Email notifications, chat messages, social media alerts, each one pulling her away from deep work and toward reactive busy work. She felt productive because she was constantly responding to things. But she wasn't creating anything. She wasn't moving important projects forward. She was just reacting to an endless stream of digital demands. Boredom has become your enemy instead of your friend. Rachel was afraid of the silence that deep work requires. She'd rather feel busy than feel still, even though stillness is where her best work would happen. Now let's talk about the social and relationship impacts. These might be the most heartbreaking symptoms because they affect your connections with the people you care about most. You're physically present but mentally absent. You sit with your family while scrolling your phone. You listen to friends while thinking about what you want to check online later. Conversations feel slower and less stimulating than they used to. You find yourself getting impatient when people take time to explain something or when there are natural pauses in dialogue. Your brain has been trained to expect constant input. Normal human interaction, with its natural rhythms and quiet moments, can't compete with the hyperkinetic pace of digital content. You're addicted to the search, not the find. Even when you're with people you love, part of your mind is searching for something more interesting, more stimulating, more immediate than what's right in front of you. This creates a terrible paradox. You crave genuine connection, but your hijacked attention system makes genuine connection feel boring. Let me tell you about Michael and Lisa, married for 12 years. They came to me because they felt like strangers living in the same house. We used to talk for hours, Lisa said. Now we sit on the couch together, both on our phones, barely speaking. I miss him even when he's right next to me. Michael was defensive at first. I'm not ignoring her. I'm just checking work emails, staying caught up on the news. It's not like I'm doing anything bad. But that's exactly the trap. Your attention has become a commodity being sold. While Michael thought he was just staying informed, his focus was being harvested and sold to advertisers, leaving nothing left for his wife. The saddest part is what this does to intimacy. Real connection requires presence. It requires the ability to be bored together sometimes, to sit in comfortable silence, to give someone your full attention without needing additional stimulation. When boredom has become your enemy instead of your friend, you lose the capacity for the kind of deep, quiet connection that makes relationships meaningful. Your kids notice this too, even if they don't say anything. They see you choosing your phone over their stories. They learn that digital distraction is normal, that partial attention is acceptable, that everyone is always somewhere else mentally. You're modeling fractured attention as a way of life. You're teaching them that the search is more important than the find, that virtual connection matters more than physical presence. Here's the test that reveals how deep this goes. Tonight, try eating dinner without any screens, any music, any background stimulation. Just you and your food and your thoughts. If that sounds unbearable, if your mind immediately starts coming up with reasons why you need something else to focus on, then you know how complete the hijacking has become. Your attention has become a commodity being sold. But attention is also your most precious resource. It's how you experience life. It's how you create meaning. It's how you connect with others. When your attention is scattered, your entire experience of life becomes scattered. But here's what I want you to understand. Every single symptom I've described, every sign that you're caught in this trap, all of it is reversible. Your brain can relearn how to find boredom peaceful instead of threatening. Your reward system can recalibrate to find satisfaction in simple pleasures. Your attention can be reclaimed from the companies that are harvesting it. You're addicted to the search, not the find. But what if you could find what you're really looking for? What if genuine satisfaction, real peace, actual fulfillment were available to you? They are. But first, you have to see clearly how far you've drifted from your natural state. Boredom has become your enemy instead of your friend. But boredom is about to become your greatest ally in reclaiming your mind, your focus, and your life. The cage is real. The symptoms are real. The impact on your creativity, your relationships, your ability to think deeply and feel deeply, all of it is real. But so is your capacity to break free. Chapter 4. The Science of Reset. Here's the beautiful truth your brain doesn't want you to know. It can heal. It can reset. It can remember what it feels like to be genuinely satisfied by simple pleasures. I know that might sound impossible right now. If you're sitting there feeling like your attention is scattered, like your phone owns more of your mind than you do, like you've forgotten how to enjoy anything that doesn't come with immediate rewards, I get it. But what I'm about to share with you will change how you think about your brain forever. Your brain isn't broken. It's just stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. And the incredible thing about your brain, the thing that should fill you with hope right now, is that it never stops changing. Right now, as you listen to these words, your brain is creating new neural connections. It's evaluating information, making decisions, adapting to new input. This process never stops. Ever. This is neuroplasticity in action. Your brain's ability to rewire itself, to form new connections, to break old patterns and build new ones. It's the reason a stroke victim can relearn to speak. It's why someone can master a new skill at 70. It's why you can break free from the dopamine trap that's been controlling your life. Every moment you resist the urge to check your phone, you're strengthening neural pathways of self-control. Every time you sit with boredom instead of immediately reaching for stimulation, you're teaching your brain that stillness is safe. Every moment of discomfort is a moment of healing. But here's what most people don't understand about neuroplasticity. It's not just about building new habits. It's about letting your brain remember what it knew before the hijacking began. Think about this. You weren't born needing to check your phone every few minutes. You didn't come into this world unable to sit quietly with your own thoughts. As a child, you could spend hours lost in imagination, completely absorbed in simple activities. That capacity is still there. It's buried under layers of digital conditioning, but it's not gone. It's waiting for you to clear away the noise and let it surface again. Imagine your brain as a garden overgrown with weeds of instant gratification. The detox is your opportunity to clear the weeds and plant seeds of lasting fulfillment. But first, you have to understand what's actually happening in your head when you begin to pull back from constant stimulation. Your dopamine system is like a thermostat. When you flood it with artificial highs, the constant notifications, the endless scroll, the quick hits of digital reward, it adjusts by raising the baseline. You need more and more stimulation to feel normal. This is called tolerance. The same mechanism that happens with drugs is happening with your devices. You're not weak. You're not lacking willpower. You're experiencing a predictable neurochemical response to overstimulation. But here's the beautiful part. Just like that thermostat can be pushed up, it can also reset itself down. Your brain wants to return to its natural state. It's just waiting for you to give the space to heal. The 48-hour principle is where this healing begins. In just 2 days of significantly reduced stimulation, your dopamine receptors start to recover. Your brain begins to remember that smaller pleasures can actually feel good. This isn't just theory. We can measure this in brain scans. We can see the physical changes happening in your neural pathways. Scientists have documented the recovery process. Your brain is designed to heal from overstimulation. But those first 48 hours, they're going to feel uncomfortable. And I want you to understand why, so you don't mistake healing for harm. When you stop flooding your system with artificial dopamine, your brain panics. It's like taking away coffee from someone who drinks 6 cups a day. The withdrawal is real, and it's physical. You might feel restless, anxious, like something is wrong, even though nothing is actually wrong. Your mind will start generating urgent reasons why you need to check your phone, why you need to scroll, why you need that hit of stimulation. These feelings aren't evidence that the detox isn't working. They're evidence that it is. Every moment of discomfort is a moment of healing. That restlessness you feel when you can't reach for your phone, that's your brain creating new pathways of patience. That anxiety when you sit in silence, that's your nervous system learning to be calm again. Here's what's happening in your brain during those first crucial hours. Your dopamine receptors, which have been numbed by overstimulation, start to regain their sensitivity. Imagine them like taste buds that have been overwhelmed by sugar for months, finally being able to taste the sweetness in an apple again. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus and decision-making, stops being constantly interrupted and begins to strengthen its capacity for sustained attention. Your stress hormones, which spike every time you get a notification or feel the urge to check your device, start to level out. Your nervous system begins to remember what calm feels like. This isn't just psychological. This is measurable, biological healing happening in your head. But I want to be honest with you about what this process feels like. The first day might feel manageable. You might even feel a sense of pride about disconnecting. Day 2 is usually when the real discomfort hits. This is when your brain realizes you're serious. This is when it starts throwing everything it has at you to get you back to the familiar patterns of stimulation. You'll have thoughts like, I'm missing something important, or I need to check just this one thing, or this is stupid, I'm going back to normal. These thoughts will feel urgent and true and completely reasonable. They're not. They're your hijacked reward system trying to pull you back into the trap. When you feel that restless energy, that need to do something, anything to escape the stillness, that's exactly when the rewiring is happening most intensely. This is the moment when most people give up. They feel the discomfort and assume something is wrong. They reach for their phone to make the anxiety stop. They mistake the symptoms of healing for symptoms of damage. Don't make that mistake. Every urge you resist is a neural pathway of self-control growing stronger. Every minute you spend in uncomfortable silence is a minute your brain is remembering how to be at peace with itself. Every moment of discomfort is a moment of healing. By day 3 or 4, something shifts. Colors start looking more vivid. Food begins tasting better. You find yourself genuinely interested in conversations instead of half listening while thinking about what to check on your phone next. It's like someone turned up the contrast on your life. You didn't realize how muted everything had become. This is what happens when your dopamine system resets. The world becomes interesting again. Simple pleasures start feeling like genuine pleasures instead of boring distractions from better entertainment. But the reset goes deeper than just feeling good. It changes how your brain processes difficulty itself. When you're constantly seeking the path of least resistance, the easy scroll, the quick distraction, the immediate reward, your brain forgets that it's capable of handling hard things. It forgets that working through challenges can actually feel good. The 48-hour reset teaches your brain that it can survive discomfort. More than survive, it can use discomfort as fuel for growth. Boredom is not emptiness, it's possibility. When you stop filling every empty moment with input, your brain finally has space to process, to create, to make connections you never would have made while distracted. This is where your best ideas live, in the quiet spaces between stimulation, in the moments when your mind has nothing external to focus on and turns inward instead. Scientists call this the default mode network. It's what your brain does when it's not actively focused on the outside world. It's where creativity happens, where problems solve themselves, where you process emotions and experiences and integrate them into your understanding of life. But constant stimulation keeps this network from ever fully activating. You're so busy consuming other people's thoughts that you never have space for your own. The 48-hour reset gives your default mode network permission to wake up again. And when it does, you remember what it feels like to have original thoughts, to come up with creative solutions, to feel genuinely curious about your own inner world. You rediscover that your own mind is actually interesting, that you don't need external entertainment to avoid being alone with your thoughts. Here's what surprises people most about the reset process. After years of needing bigger and bigger hits of stimulation to feel anything, suddenly small things start feeling significant again. A conversation becomes engaging instead of slow. A walk outside becomes interesting instead of boring. A home-cooked meal becomes satisfying instead of just fuel consumed while scrolling. Your brain rediscovers that it doesn't need artificial enhancement to find life interesting. Life itself, in its natural rhythms and simple pleasures, becomes enough. This is the return of natural pleasure and motivation. When your dopamine system recalibrates to its natural baseline, ordinary experiences start feeling extraordinary again. But this process requires something that feels almost impossible in our current culture. It requires you to do nothing, to sit with discomfort, to let boredom exist without immediately killing it. Most people never make it through those first 48 hours because they can't tolerate the temporary discomfort of healing. They mistake the withdrawal symptoms for evidence that something is wrong, when actually they're evidence that something is finally going right. Here's what I want you to understand. The discomfort you feel during the reset isn't punishment. It's not your brain being damaged. It's your brain working exactly as it should, readjusting from an artificial state back to its natural baseline. Every moment of restlessness is a moment of neural rewiring. Every urge you resist is a pathway of self-control growing stronger. Every minute you spend in unstimulated silence is a minute your creativity and peace are returning. This discomfort is temporary. The benefits are lasting. When you complete the 48-hour reset, you gain something that's incredibly rare in our modern world. You become comfortable with difficulty. You can tackle complex problems without needing constant feedback. You can be present with other people without part of your mind searching for something more interesting. Boredom becomes your superpower. When you're no longer afraid of unstimulated moments, when you can sit with discomfort without immediately reaching for relief, you develop a kind of mental strength that gives you an enormous advantage. You can focus when others can't. You can think deeply when others are skimming the surface. You can find satisfaction in simple things when others need constant novelty. Boredom is not emptiness, it's possibility. When you stop being afraid of your own thoughts, when you can sit quietly without needing external entertainment, you gain access to parts of yourself that have been dormant for years. This is where your solutions to problems live. This is where your creative ideas are born. This is where you process experiences and emotions and integrate them into wisdom. The science is clear. Your brain can heal from this hijacking. Your attention can be reclaimed. Your capacity for deep satisfaction can be restored. But it requires you to move through temporary discomfort to reach lasting peace. Your dopamine receptors want to regain their sensitivity. Your prefrontal cortex wants to strengthen its capacity for sustained focus. Your default mode network wants to activate and give you access to your own creativity and insight. Your brain is designed to heal. Your nervous system wants to be calm. Your mind wants to be present and focused and capable of genuine satisfaction. Every moment of discomfort is a moment of healing. Trust the process. Trust your brain's incredible ability to rewire itself. Trust that the discomfort you feel is not damage, it's recovery. The 48-hour reset is just the beginning. It's the foundation that makes everything else possible. It's proof that your brain can change, that you're not stuck in these patterns forever. It's evidence that genuine peace and focus are available to you. That boredom can become your ally instead of your enemy. That simple pleasures can feel genuinely pleasurable again. Your brain is ready to heal. It's been waiting for you to give it permission to reset, to remember what it felt like before the hijacking began. The discomfort you've been avoiding is about to become the doorway to the life you actually want to live. Boredom is not emptiness, it's possibility. And that possibility is about to become your reality. Every moment of discomfort is a moment of healing. Your reset begins now. Chapter 5, The 48-Hour Protocol. What I'm about to share with you has transformed thousands of lives. It's simple but not easy. It's uncomfortable but not harmful. It's the doorway to the person you're meant to become. You now understand the science. You know your brain can heal. You've seen how neuroplasticity works, how your dopamine system can reset, how boredom can become your greatest ally instead of your worst enemy. But understanding the science isn't enough. You need a plan. You need exact steps. You need to know what to do when the discomfort hits and your mind starts screaming for stimulation. The 48-hour protocol isn't just about disconnecting from your devices. It's about reconnecting with yourself. It's about giving your brain the space it needs to remember what it felt like before the hijacking began. This protocol has been tested by thousands of people. It works, but only if you follow it completely. Let me be clear about what we're doing here. This isn't a punishment. This isn't about depriving yourself of joy or connection. This is about clearing away the artificial noise so you can hear your authentic voice again. For 48 hours, you're going to step out of the dopamine casino. You're going to let your reward system recalibrate. You're going to prove to yourself that you can survive and even thrive without constant stimulation. Here's what you're going to avoid. Complete avoidance. No exceptions. No, just for a minute. No, just to check something important. Your phone becomes a communication device only. Calls and texts for genuine emergencies. That's it. No social media. No news apps. No games. No browsing. No YouTube. No scrolling of any kind. Your computer stays closed unless it's absolutely required for essential work. And if you must use it for work, you install website blockers that prevent you from accessing any entertainment or social platforms. No streaming services. No Netflix. No Hulu. No YouTube. No TikTok. Your TV remains off unless someone else in your household needs it, and even then, you don't watch. No news consumption. None. This might feel impossible because you've been conditioned to believe you need constant updates about what's happening in the world. You don't. The world will continue turning. The important information will still be there in 48 hours. No podcasts, no audiobooks, no music while you're doing other activities. If you want to listen to music, you sit and listen to music. Nothing else. No multitasking entertainment. No mindless snacking while bored. No online shopping. No browsing without purpose. No picking up your phone just to see if anything has happened. This is complete digital minimalism for 48 hours. You're creating space for your brain to breathe. I know what you're thinking. What am I supposed to do with all that time? How am I supposed to function? What if something important happens? These thoughts are exactly what I expected. They're the voice of your hijacked reward system panicking about losing its constant supply of stimulation. Here's what you're going to embrace instead. These aren't consolation prizes. These are the activities that will remind you what genuine satisfaction feels like. You're going to read physical books, not for productivity or self-improvement, but for the pure pleasure of losing yourself in someone else's imagination. Your attention span might be fractured right now, but it will return. You're going to take walks without any audio input. No music, no podcasts, nothing in your ears except the sound of the world around you. You're going to let your mind wander wherever it wants to go. You're going to have real conversations with people, face to face, eye to eye, without phones on the table, without the urge to document the interaction or check what's happening elsewhere. You're going to cook meals from scratch, not because it's healthy, but because it's a mindful activity that engages your senses and requires your full attention. You're going to eat those meals without any screen time. You're going to write by hand, journals, letters, random thoughts. Let your pen move across paper and see what comes out of your mind when it's not being constantly fed external input. You're going to sit in silence. This might be the hardest part. Just sitting, just breathing, just being present with whatever thoughts and feelings arise. No meditation apps, no guided anything. Just you in your own mind. You're going to clean and organize your physical space. There's something deeply satisfying about bringing order to your environment that your overstimulated brain has forgotten how to appreciate. You're going to exercise, but not with entertainment. Feel your body moving. Pay attention to your breathing, your heartbeat, the way your muscles work. Connect with your physical self instead of trying to escape from it. Most importantly, you're going to sleep better than you have in months. Without screens before bed, without stimulation keeping your mind racing, your natural sleep patterns will begin to restore themselves. Now let's walk through this hour by hour, because the journey has predictable stages, and knowing what to expect will help you navigate the difficult moments. Hours 1 to 6, the honeymoon phase. You might actually feel good about this. There's a sense of pride in taking control, in choosing to disconnect. You might feel liberated, like you're doing something important for yourself. Don't get too comfortable. This feeling won't last, and when it changes, you need to be ready. Hours 7 to 12, the first wave of restlessness. This is when your brain starts to notice that its usual supply of stimulation has been cut off. You'll start reaching for your phone automatically, forgetting that you're not supposed to check it. You'll feel bored in a way that seems urgent. Like boredom is dangerous, like you need to fix it immediately. This is when most people give up. They think, I'll just check one thing, and the protocol is over. Every craving you don't feed makes you stronger. When you feel that automatic reach for your phone, pause. Notice the craving. Feel how it sits in your body. Then choose something else. Hours 13 to 18, the anxiety phase. This is when your nervous system starts to panic. You might feel anxious about things that normally wouldn't bother you. You might worry that you're missing something important, that people need you, that the world is moving on without you. This anxiety isn't rational. It's withdrawal. Your brain is used to constant micro hits of dopamine, and without them, it's sending distress signals. Discomfort is temporary. Transformation is permanent. Every moment of anxiety you sit with is rewiring your brain. Every urge you resist is building neural pathways of self-control. Hours 19 to 24, the first major crisis. This is usually when people break. The boredom feels unbearable. Your mind feels foggy. You might get irritable or sad for no apparent reason. This is the moment of truth. This is when you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your conditioning. When that wave of desperation hits, when your brain is screaming for stimulation, you have a choice. You can reach for your phone and reset all the progress you've made. Or you can sit with the discomfort and let it teach you something profound about your own resilience. Here are your emergency strategies for these breaking points. First, acknowledge what's happening. Say out loud, my brain is going through withdrawal. This discomfort means the reset is working. Move your body. Do jumping jacks, take a shower, clean something vigorously. Physical movement helps process the anxious energy that has nowhere else to go. Call someone who supports what you're doing. Have a real conversation. Not about how hard the detox is, but about anything else. Remember what human connection feels like without the buffer of digital distraction. Write down exactly what you're feeling. Don't try to make it positive or productive. Just dump all the frustration and boredom and anxiety onto paper. Let out of your head. Hours 25 to 36, the storm before the calm. This is often the hardest part. Your brain is throwing everything it has at you. Every possible reason why you should quit, why this is stupid, why you need to check your phone just once. The thoughts will feel completely reasonable. You'll convince yourself that something urgent must have happened, that people are worried about you, that you're being irresponsible. These thoughts are not rational. They're the voice of addiction trying to pull you back into the trap. Picture yourself at hour 36. The noise in your mind has quieted. Ideas begin to flow. Colors seem brighter. Conversations feel deeper. This isn't imagination. This is your natural state returning. The path through boredom leads to brilliance. Every moment of discomfort you push through is bringing you closer to mental clarity you haven't experienced in years. Hours 37 to 42, the shift. This is when something magical starts to happen. The desperation begins to fade. The anxiety softens. You start to notice things you haven't paid attention to in months. The taste of your food becomes more vivid. Conversations become more engaging. Your own thoughts become more interesting than anything you could scroll through online. You might find yourself genuinely laughing at something, or getting absorbed in a book, or having an original idea that excites you. This is your brain coming back online. Hours 43 to 48, the breakthrough. By now, your dopamine receptors have started to regain their sensitivity. Your default mode network is activating. Your mind feels clearer, calmer, more focused than it has in a long time. You're not cured yet. This is just the beginning. But you've proven something crucial to yourself. You can survive without constant stimulation. More than survive, you can thrive. Throughout this entire process, you need to remember why you're doing this. You're not punishing yourself. You're not missing out on anything important. You're reclaiming your attention, your peace of mind, your ability to be genuinely satisfied by simple pleasures. Every craving you don't feed makes you stronger. Every moment of boredom you sit with is teaching your brain that stillness is safe. The discomfort you feel isn't damage. It's healing. Your nervous system is remembering how to be calm. Your reward system is recalibrating to find joy in ordinary moments. Some people worry about withdrawal symptoms. Let me tell you what to expect so you're not surprised. You might feel restless, like you can't sit still. This is normal. Your body is used to the constant low-level stimulation of notifications and screen time. Without it, you might feel physically agitated. You might feel sad or irritable for no clear reason. Your brain is used to avoiding difficult emotions by reaching for distraction. Now, those emotions have space to surface and be processed. You might feel foggy or unfocused at first. This is temporary. Your brain is reorganizing itself, and during that process, thinking might feel harder before it gets easier. You might have trouble sleeping the first night, even though you're avoiding screens. Your nervous system might be too activated to settle down immediately. This will improve. You might feel lonely, even if you're around people. You're used to the artificial connection of social media, and real human interaction might feel slower and less stimulating at first. All of these symptoms are temporary. All of them are signs that the reset is working. Discomfort is temporary. Transformation is permanent. When you feel like giving up, when the boredom feels unbearable, when your brain is demanding stimulation, remember this. Millions of people have lived fulfilling lives without smartphones, without social media, without constant entertainment. You can too. Not forever, but for 48 hours. And those 48 hours will show you what's possible. Here's what you can expect after you complete the protocol. Colors will seem more vibrant. Food will taste better. Conversations will feel more engaging. Your attention span will start to return. Simple activities will become satisfying again. You'll have ideas that surprise you. You'll solve problems that have been stuck in your mind for weeks. You'll feel more connected to the people around you and more interested in your own inner world. This isn't a temporary high. This is your natural state returning. This is who you are when your reward system isn't being constantly hijacked by artificial stimulation. The path through boredom leads to brilliance. The boredom you're afraid of isn't empty space. It's the space where creativity lives, where solutions emerge, where your authentic self has room to breathe. I want you to write down 3 things before you start the protocol. First, write down why you're doing this. What do you want to reclaim? What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of life do you want to live? Second, write down your biggest fear about the 48 hours. What are you most worried about missing? What feels most unbearable about disconnecting? Third, write down what you're most excited about. What do you hope to rediscover about yourself? What simple pleasure are you looking forward to experiencing fully again? Keep these written reminders with you during the protocol. When the discomfort hits, when your brain is screaming for stimulation, read them. Remember why you started. Every craving you don't feed makes you stronger. Every moment of discomfort is rewiring your brain. Every hour you complete is proof of your strength and commitment to the person you're becoming. This protocol will not be easy, but it will be worth it. The discomfort you're about to experience is the price of freedom. The boredom you're about to sit with is the doorway to brilliance. Discomfort is temporary. Transformation is permanent. Your brain wants to heal. Your attention wants to be reclaimed. Your capacity for genuine satisfaction wants to be restored. The 48-hour protocol is your pathway back to yourself. Your journey to freedom begins now. The path through boredom leads to brilliance. Step onto that path. Trust the process. Trust your brain's ability to heal. Trust that the person you're meant to become is waiting on the other side of this temporary discomfort. Your reset starts now. Chapter 6, Beyond the Detox, Sustainable Systems. Congratulations. You made it through the storm. You sat with the discomfort, resisted the cravings, and proved to yourself that you're stronger than your conditioning. Your brain feels clearer. Colors seem brighter. Simple conversations hold your attention in ways they haven't for months. But here's what nobody tells you about breakthrough moments. They don't last without intentional design. The 48-hour detox is not the destination. It's the doorway. What matters most is how you design your life on the other side. Right now, the dopamine receptors have regained some sensitivity. Your default mode network is functioning better. Your attention span has started to return. But this clarity is fragile. One weekend of mindless scrolling can undo weeks of progress. Most people make the same mistake. They complete their detox, feel amazing for a few days, then slowly drift back into old patterns. They think willpower alone will sustain them. They're wrong. Willpower is a muscle that gets tired. Systems never do. You need architecture for your attention. You need structures that make the right choices automatic and the wrong choices difficult. You need to design your environment so that maintaining your mental clarity requires less effort, not more. Let me show you how to build a life where focus becomes your default state, where boredom transforms into creativity, where your relationship with technology serves you instead of enslaving you. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about creating sustainable practices that compound over time, making each day a little easier than the last. Every choice you make is either feeding your addiction or your freedom. There's no neutral ground. Every notification you allow, every mindless scroll you indulge, every moment of distraction you choose is training your brain to crave more. But the opposite is also true. Every boundary you maintain, every pause you take before reaching for your phone, every moment of focused attention you sustain is strengthening your capacity for deep work and genuine satisfaction. Small, consistent actions create extraordinary transformations. Not dramatic gestures or perfect streaks, but tiny decisions made thousands of times that reshape your neural pathways and rebuild your attention span. Your morning routine sets the tone for everything that follows. Most people grab their phones within minutes of waking up, flooding their fresh minds with other people's priorities, problems, and agendas. Your brain in the morning is like a blank canvas. The first inputs you feed, it determine the quality of your entire day. Here's how to design a morning that protects your mental clarity. Keep your phone in another room overnight. Not on airplane mode, not face down on your nightstand. In another room entirely. When you wake up, your first action shouldn't be checking what happened while you slept. Nothing important happened. Nothing that requires your immediate attention. The world survived without your constant monitoring. Instead, spend the first 30 minutes of your day feeding your mind with intention. Read something that challenges your thinking. Write in a journal. Meditate. Exercise. Take a walk outside without any audio input. This isn't about being productive. It's about claiming ownership of your attention before the world tries to steal it. Your brain craves routine more than you realize. When you start each day the same way, with the same deliberate practices, you're training your nervous system to expect calm, focus, instead of chaotic stimulation. Most people think routines are restrictive. Actually, they're liberating. When your morning practices become automatic, you free up mental energy for the decisions that actually matter. The quality of your sleep determines the strength of your willpower the next day. When you're tired, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-control, goes offline first. This is why you can resist your phone all day, but find yourself scrolling mindlessly at night. Your brain's executive function is depleted, and your primitive reward-seeking takes over. Your evening routine is just as crucial as your morning one. 2 hours before bed, all screens go away. Not dimmed, not on night mode. Away. This isn't negotiable if you want to maintain the mental clarity you've worked so hard to regain. Instead of screen time, create rituals that prepare your mind for rest. Read physical books. Take a bath. Write in a journal about the day. Have conversations with people you care about without any digital interruptions. Your bedroom becomes a sanctuary for sleep, not a command center for digital consumption. No phones, no tablets, no televisions. Just a space designed for rest and restoration. When your sleep improves, everything else becomes easier. Your mood stabilizes. Your focus sharpens. Your resistance to digital temptation strengthens. Quality sleep is the foundation of every other habit you want to build. Weekends are where most people lose their progress. The structure of work disappears, boredom creeps in, and suddenly they're right back where they started, scrolling, consuming, seeking stimulation from all the sources they just learned to avoid. You need weekend practices that deepen your reset instead of undoing it. Saturday morning, instead of sleeping in and immediately reaching for your phone, wake up at your regular time and engage in what I call analog activities. Things that existed before smartphones, things that engage your hands and mind simultaneously. Cooking elaborate meals from scratch, building something with your hands, gardening, drawing, playing musical instruments, having long conversations with friends over coffee. These activities might seem slow compared to the instant gratification you're used to, but that's exactly the point. You're training your brain to find satisfaction in sustained attention, in delayed rewards, in the kind of deep engagement that actually nourishes your soul. Sunday becomes your planning day, not for productivity optimization, but for intentional living. You review the week that just passed, acknowledge what worked and what didn't, and set clear intentions for the week ahead. This isn't about cramming more into your schedule. It's about approaching your time with consciousness instead of letting it slip away in a haze of reactive behaviors. Social situations will test every boundary you've created. Your friends will pull out their phones during dinner. People will expect you to respond to messages immediately. You'll be surrounded by the very behaviors you're trying to change. This is where your transformation either deepens or dies. You can't control other people's relationship with technology, but you can model a different way of being. When you're fully present in conversations, people notice. When you're not constantly checking your phone, you become more interesting to be around. Some friends might not understand your new boundaries. They might tease you about being old-fashioned or too serious. These reactions tell you more about their own relationship with digital distraction than they do about your choices. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. They might even start questioning their own habits. Your commitment to mental clarity becomes permission for others to examine their own digital consumption. But you'll also discover who in your life is genuinely interested in connection and who is just looking for someone to scroll alongside. Not everyone will make the journey with you, and that's okay. Technology isn't inherently evil. The problem isn't the tools themselves, it's how we use them. Your goal isn't to become a digital hermit. It's to develop a conscious relationship with the devices and platforms that surround you. Here's how to create boundaries that actually work, not just good intentions that crumble under pressure. Your phone becomes a tool instead of a toy. Remove all social media apps. If you must use these platforms, access them through a web browser where the experience is more cumbersome and less addictive. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Your phone should alert you to calls, texts from actual emergencies, and nothing else. Not news updates, not social media likes, not promotional emails. Create friction between you and distraction. Put your phone in a drawer when you're working. Use apps that block distracting websites during focused work sessions. Make accessing entertainment require multiple steps instead of single taps. The easier it is to access distraction, the more you'll use it. The harder you make it, the more intentional your consumption becomes. Designate specific times for checking messages and social media instead of allowing constant access throughout the day. Maybe 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening. Outside those windows, your attention belongs to whatever you're actually doing. This approach transforms your relationship with information consumption from reactive to proactive. Instead of being pulled into digital rabbit holes whenever something pings, you choose when and how to engage. Most people think they need to stay constantly connected to avoid missing something important. In reality, the constant connectivity is what causes them to miss everything important, the conversation happening in front of them, the thoughts forming in their own minds, the simple pleasure of focused attention. The art of conscious consumption extends beyond digital media. It's about being intentional with everything you feed your mind. The news you read, the conversations you engage in, the entertainment you choose. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Every piece of content you consume either adds to your life or subtracts from it. There's no neutral consumption. Start asking different questions before you consume anything. Will this make me wiser or just more informed? Will this inspire action or just create anxiety? Will this help me understand the world better or just confirm what I already believe? Most news consumption fails these tests. Most social media scrolling fails these tests. Most entertainment consumption fails these tests. This doesn't mean you become disconnected from the world. It means you become more selective about how you connect. You choose high-quality sources over high-quantity updates. You seek understanding over information. You prioritize what serves your growth over what feeds your fears. Delayed gratification isn't about denying yourself pleasure. It's about choosing better pleasures, deeper satisfactions, rewards that actually nourish you instead of leaving you empty and craving more. Your brain has been trained to expect instant everything. Instant answers, instant entertainment, instant validation. This conditioning makes you impatient with anything that requires sustained effort or time to develop. But the best things in life, deep relationships, meaningful work, creative mastery, physical fitness, emotional resilience, all require time to develop. They can't be downloaded, purchased, or consumed instantly. When you rebuild your capacity for delayed gratification, you regain access to these deeper satisfactions. Start small. When you feel the urge to check your phone, wait 5 minutes. When you want to skip ahead in a book, read one more page first. When you're bored and reaching for entertainment, sit with the boredom for just a few moments before choosing how to respond. These tiny delays retrain your brain to tolerate discomfort, to sit with uncertainty, to find satisfaction in patience itself. The magic happens in the space between impulse and action. That's where choice lives. That's where freedom is born. Every time you pause between wanting something and getting it, you're strengthening the neural pathways of self-control. You're proving to yourself that you can survive discomfort, that you don't need to react to every craving immediately. Natural reward systems are activities that stimulate dopamine production in healthy, sustainable ways. Unlike artificial stimulation from screens and notifications, these rewards don't create tolerance or addiction. They satisfy you without leaving you empty. Physical exercise is one of the most powerful natural dopamine generators. Not because it's always fun in the moment, but because it consistently produces feelings of accomplishment and well-being. Creative activities, writing, drawing, building, playing music, engage your brain's reward system through the satisfaction of creation rather than consumption. You're adding something to the world instead of just taking from it. Learning new skills activates reward pathways through genuine accomplishment. The dopamine hit you get from mastering a difficult concept or technique is far more sustaining than any notification or social media like. Deep conversations, meaningful work, acts of service, time in nature, physical challenges. These activities seem slow compared to digital stimulation, but they create lasting satisfaction instead of momentary spikes followed by crashes. When you fill your life with natural rewards, artificial stimulation becomes less appealing. You're not white-knuckling your way through temptation. You're genuinely satisfied by better alternatives. This is the secret to sustainable change. You don't just remove the behaviors you want to stop, you replace them with behaviors you want to continue. Discipline is just remembering what you want most. In moments of temptation, when your brain is screaming for immediate gratification, remember why you started this journey. What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of relationships do you want to have? What kind of work do you want to do? Your daily choices are votes for the kind of person you're becoming. Every time you choose focus over distraction, presence over absence, intention over reaction, you're voting for the person you want to be. The person you're becoming is worth the temporary discomfort of changing your habits. The life you're building is worth the effort of maintaining these boundaries. Some days will be harder than others. Some weeks you'll slip back into old patterns. This isn't failure, it's part of the process. What matters isn't perfection, it's getting back on track quickly when you notice you've drifted. The systems you're building now will serve you for decades. The attention span you're rebuilding will make every area of your life richer. The boundaries you're creating will protect your mental energy for what matters most. Your relationship with technology is now conscious instead of compulsive. Your attention belongs to you instead of being hijacked by algorithms designed to capture and monetize it. You've moved from being a passive consumer to an active creator of your own experience. From being reactive to being intentional. From being scattered to being focused. This is what freedom looks like. Not the absence of all constraints, but the presence of conscious choice. Not the elimination of all technology, but the development of wisdom about when and how to use it. Every choice is either feeding your addiction or your freedom. Every morning routine either sets you up for scattered reactivity or focused intention. Every evening practice either depletes your mental energy or restores it. The path you've started walking leads to a life of deeper satisfaction, clearer thinking, and stronger relationships. A life where your attention serves your values instead of other people's agendas. Small, consistent actions create extraordinary transformations. The boundaries you maintain today make tomorrow's focus easier. The habits you build this week make next month's clarity stronger. Your reset didn't end with a 48-hour protocol. It began there. Every day now is an opportunity to deepen your freedom, strengthen your focus, and design a life that truly serves who you're becoming. Discipline is just remembering what you want most. And what you want most is worth every moment of effort you're investing to achieve it. Your journey to sustained mental clarity continues now. Chapter 7. The Ripple Effect, Transforming Every Area. When you master your dopamine, you don't just change your focus. You change your entire life. Your relationships deepen. Your work becomes meaningful. Your dreams become achievable. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the predictable result of reclaiming your attention and rebuilding your reward system. The transformation you've started reaches into every corner of your existence. Like throwing a stone into still water, the ripples spread far beyond the initial impact. Areas of your life that seemed completely unrelated to your phone habits suddenly begin improving. Your brain doesn't compartmentalize the way you might think. When you strengthen your capacity for sustained attention, that strength shows up everywhere. When you rebuild your tolerance for discomfort, you become more resilient in all situations. When you stop seeking constant stimulation, your mind finally has space to generate the insights and solutions that have been waiting beneath the noise. Let me show you exactly how this transformation unfolds across every area of your life. How the work you've done on your dopamine system cascades into improvements you never expected in places you never imagined. This isn't just about having better focus. This is about becoming the person you were meant to be before the digital world hijacked your natural development. Your creativity doesn't just return, it explodes. For months, maybe years, your brain has been consuming instead of creating, taking in endless streams of other people's ideas instead of generating your own. When that input finally stops, something remarkable happens. The space that was filled with scrolling and consuming becomes filled with original thinking. You start having ideas in the shower again. Real ideas, not just mental replays of content you consumed. Solutions to problems that have been stuck in your mind for weeks suddenly become clear. Your brain begins making connections it couldn't make when it was constantly interrupted. Patterns emerge. Insights surface. Creative possibilities that were buried under digital noise finally have room to breathe. This isn't just about artistic creativity, though that definitely improves. This is about problem-solving creativity. The kind that makes you better at your job, better at relationships, better at navigating the challenges of daily life. When your mind stops seeking stimulation from external sources, it starts finding stimulation in its own capacity to think, to wonder, to imagine, to solve. The quality of your relationships transforms in ways that will surprise you. Not because you're trying harder to connect with people, but because you're actually present when connection happens. Your conversations become deeper because you're not mentally checking out every few minutes. People notice when you're genuinely listening instead of waiting for your turn to talk or thinking about what's happening on your phone. You start remembering details about people's lives that you used to miss. You ask better questions because you're curious about their answers instead of distracted by your own thoughts. The patience you've developed through dopamine training shows up in how you handle conflict. Instead of reacting immediately when someone annoys you, you have space between trigger and response. Your empathy increases because your mind isn't constantly focused on your own stimulation seeking. You have mental bandwidth available for understanding other people's experiences and emotions. The presence you bring to relationships becomes magnetic. People want to spend time with someone who's actually there, who's engaged, who's not constantly half somewhere else. Your physical health improves in ways that go far beyond just spending less time sedentary while scrolling. The stress reduction from not constantly consuming anxiety-provoking content shows up in better sleep, lower cortisol levels, improved digestion. Your relationship with food changes because you're not eating mindlessly while distracted by screens. You actually taste your meals. You notice when you're full. You make better choices because you're present for the decision-making process. Exercise becomes more enjoyable because you're not trying to escape your body through mental distraction. You feel your muscles working, notice your breathing, experience the satisfaction of physical challenge without needing entertainment to get through it. Your energy levels stabilize because you're not riding the constant dopamine roller coaster of digital highs and crashes. Your nervous system finds its natural rhythm instead of being constantly activated by notifications and stimulation. Sleep improves dramatically, not just because you're avoiding screens before bed, but because your mind has learned to be calm. The racing thoughts that used to keep you awake start to quiet down. Your immune system strengthens because chronic stress from information overload decreases. Your body stops living in a constant state of low-level fight-or-flight activation. Your financial discipline improves because the same systems you've built for resisting digital temptation apply to resisting spending temptation. The delayed gratification muscles you've strengthened make it easier to save for long-term goals instead of seeking immediate purchases. You stop making impulsive buying decisions while scrolling through targeted ads because you're not scrolling through targeted ads. The constant exposure to must-have products and lifestyle comparisons that drive unnecessary spending simply isn't part of your daily experience anymore. Your relationship with money becomes more intentional because your relationship with everything becomes more intentional. You start asking whether purchases align with your values instead of just satisfying immediate desires. The focus you've developed allows you to engage more deeply with long-term financial planning. Budgeting becomes less overwhelming because you can sustain attention on the task instead of getting distracted every few minutes. The time you use to spend consuming other people's financial advice online, you now spend actually managing your own finances, taking action instead of just consuming information about action. Your work performance improves because you can finally do deep work, the kind of sustained, focused effort that produces exceptional results instead of just busy work. Projects that used to take hours because of constant interruption and task switching now get completed in much less time. Your output increases, but more importantly, the the quality of that output improves dramatically. You stop procrastinating as much because you're not constantly seeking easier, more immediately gratifying alternatives to whatever you're supposed to be doing. When your brain isn't looking for dopamine hits from distractions, it can find satisfaction in the work itself. Your ability to learn new skills accelerates because you can sustain attention long enough for complex concepts to actually sink in. Information retention improves when you're not trying to absorb while simultaneously processing digital noise. The career opportunities that require deep expertise become accessible because you can now develop that expertise. You're not just staying busy, you're building mastery. You start seeing long-term patterns and possibilities that were invisible when your thinking was fragmented by constant interruption. Strategic thinking becomes possible when your mind has space to consider complex problems from multiple angles. Your spiritual life deepens, whether you think of spirituality in religious terms or simply as connection to something larger than yourself. The inner noise that prevented quiet reflection begins to settle. Meditation becomes actually possible instead of just an exercise in fighting distraction. Prayer feels more genuine because your mind isn't racing with digital residue from the day. You start noticing beauty again. Sunsets that you used to walk past while staring at your phone. The way light falls through windows. The sound of rain. Simple moments that felt boring when your brain was addicted to stimulation now feel nourishing. Your connection to nature strengthens because you're present enough to actually experience it. Walking outside becomes restorative instead of just another opportunity to listen to podcasts or music. The bigger questions that used to feel too overwhelming to consider, questions about purpose, meaning, what really matters, become approachable because your mind has the capacity for deeper contemplation. You develop what ancient traditions called wisdom, not just knowledge or information, but the ability to see clearly, to understand what's truly important, to make decisions based on long-term well-being instead of immediate impulses. Your values become clearer because you have mental space to examine them instead of being constantly pulled toward other people's priorities and agendas. The version of yourself that exists 1 year from now, if you commit to this path, is almost unrecognizable from who you are today. Not because you've changed everything about your personality, but because you've removed the barriers that were preventing your natural gifts from flourishing. That person has ideas that excite them, work that energizes them, relationships that nourish them, a sense of purpose that guides their decisions. They wake up each morning curious about what the day will bring instead of dreading the overwhelming flood of information and stimulation. They go to sleep each night satisfied with how they spent their time instead of feeling like it slipped away unnoticed. Their mind is their own. Their attention serves their values. Their focus creates results they're proud of. This transformation isn't just possible for some people. It's available to anyone willing to do the work of reclaiming their dopamine system and rebuilding their relationship with attention. The ripple effects touch everything because attention is connected to everything. How you pay attention determines how you experience life, how you show up in relationships, how effectively you work, how clearly you think. When you master your attention, you master your experience. When you heal your dopamine system, you heal your capacity to find genuine satisfaction in the activities and relationships that actually matter. The changes start with your phone habits, but they don't end there. They spread into every corner of your existence, improving areas you didn't even realize were connected to your digital consumption. Imagine looking back 1 year from now, grateful beyond measure that you took this journey. That version of yourself is not just possible. They're inevitable when you commit to this path. The work you're doing now is creating that future. Every boundary you maintain, every moment of focused attention you sustain, every craving you resist is building the foundation for that transformed life. Your creativity is waiting beneath the noise. Your relationships are waiting beneath the distraction. Your health is waiting beneath the stress. Your purpose is waiting beneath the overwhelm. The ripple effects of mastering your dopamine don't just change your focus. They change everything. That transformation begins with your next choice, your next moment of sustained attention, your next decision to choose presence over distraction, intention over reaction, depth over stimulation. The ripples are already spreading. The person you're becoming is already emerging. The life you're creating is already beginning to unfold. Every area of your existence is connected to your capacity for focused attention. Master that capacity, and you master your entire life experience. The ripple effect starts now. You came here feeling scattered, distracted, perhaps even hopeless about your ability to focus and feel genuine satisfaction. You're leaving with a complete system for neurological freedom. The 48-hour reset protocol, sustainable daily practices, and most importantly, the knowledge that you have the power to rewire your brain for lasting fulfillment. This isn't just another self-help theory. This is a proven pathway back to your natural state of focused attention and deep satisfaction. You now understand the science behind your struggles and the exact steps to overcome them. You know why your brain craves constant stimulation and how to break that cycle. You have the tools to survive the discomfort of withdrawal and emerge stronger on the other side. More than that, you understand this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about taking back control of your attention, one choice at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time. The path forward is clear. The methods are proven. The only question remaining is whether you'll take the first step. Remember, every master was once a disaster. Every success story started with a single decision to change. The people who seem effortlessly focused, naturally creative, deeply satisfied with their lives, they weren't born that way. They made the same choice you're facing right now. They chose discomfort over distraction. They chose boredom over artificial stimulation. They chose their future self over their current cravings. You have everything you need to begin this transformation. The knowledge, the tools, the understanding of what to expect. What you do with this information determines whether this audiobook becomes another piece of consumed content or the catalyst for genuine change. Your brain wants to heal. Your attention wants to be reclaimed. Your natural capacity for focus and satisfaction wants to be restored. The only thing standing between you and that transformation is the decision to begin. If this audiobook has sparked something within you, honor that feeling. Don't let it fade into the background noise of your daily life. Take action while the inspiration is still fresh, while the possibility feels real, while you can still remember what it felt like to imagine yourself transformed. Subscribe to AudioWave Books for more life-changing content that cuts through the noise and delivers real strategies for real transformation. We're committed to bringing you the tools and insights that actually work, not just feel good in the moment. Like this video if you're committed to taking the 48-hour challenge. That simple action isn't just about supporting this content. It's about making a public commitment to yourself. It's about drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is where my transformation begins. Most importantly, share your journey in the comments. Tell us what resonated with you. Tell us what scared you. Tell us what you're most excited to change. Your story might be the inspiration someone else needs to begin their own transformation. The comments section becomes a community of people supporting each other through this challenging but rewarding process. You're not alone in this struggle, and you don't have to face the journey alone. Some of you listening right now are thinking, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll try this next week when things calm down. That voice in your head is the same voice that's been keeping you trapped in cycles of distraction and dissatisfaction. There will never be a perfect time to begin. There will always be reasons to delay, excuses to avoid discomfort, justifications for staying exactly where you are. The only time you can change your life is right now. The only moment you have control over is this one. The only choice that matters is the next one you make. Your phone is within reach right now. You could pick it up the moment this audiobook ends and fall right back into the same patterns you've been stuck in for months or years. Or you could set aside, take a deep breath, and begin the 48-hour protocol that will change everything. The person you're meant to become is waiting. They're waiting for you to put down the distractions, Embrace the discomfort and step into your power. They're waiting for you to remember that you're stronger than your conditioning, more capable than your current habits suggest. That person has been buried under layers of digital noise and artificial stimulation, but they're still there. Your natural capacity for focus, creativity, and deep satisfaction hasn't disappeared. It's just been temporarily hijacked. The journey to reclaim your attention, rebuild your dopamine system, and rediscover genuine satisfaction begins with a single decision. Not a perfect decision, not a dramatic gesture, but a simple choice to start where you are with what you have. You have the knowledge. You have the tools. You have the understanding of what to expect and how to navigate the challenges ahead. The only thing missing is the decision to begin. That decision is yours to make. No one can make it for you. No one can walk this path for you. But you don't have to walk it alone. The community is here to support you. The methods are proven to work. The transformation is not just possible. It's inevitable when you commit to the process. Your scattered attention can become laser focus. Your constant craving for stimulation can become deep satisfaction with simple pleasures. Your fragmented thinking can become clear, creative insight. The dopamine casino that's been running your life can be shut down. The algorithms that have been harvesting your attention can lose their power over you. The devices that have been stealing your presence can become tools that serve your intentions. This transformation doesn't require perfection. It requires commitment, not to never making mistakes, but to getting back on track quickly when you do. Not to being perfect, but to being persistent. Every moment of discomfort you sit with is rewiring your brain. Every craving you don't feed is strengthening your self-control. Every choice you make to stay present instead of seeking distraction is building the person you're becoming. The ripple effects of this transformation will touch every area of your life. Your relationships will deepen. Your work will become more meaningful. Your creativity will flourish. Your health will improve. Your sense of purpose will clarify. But it all begins with the decision to start. Right here, right now, with the next choice you make. The person you're meant to become is waiting. The life you're meant to live is waiting. The focus, creativity, and satisfaction you're meant to experience are waiting. The journey begins now. The transformation starts with your next choice. The future you're creating unfolds with your next decision. Choose discomfort over distraction. Choose presence over absence. Choose your future self over your current cravings. The power is in your hands. The path is clear. The destination is worth every moment of effort it takes to get there. Your journey to dopamine freedom begins now.